what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1998 Nissan Sentra GXE. Up front is a 1.6 liter inline 4 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this generation of Sentra because I have never driven one before. I've driven earlier Sentras, I've driven later Sentras, but this is a big gap in my knowledge. These were also available with the SR20, which we'll talk about in a second. And although this isn't the best example of one, it's actually probably one of the worst examples of a 1998 Nissan Sentra left on the road. It still runs and drives, so we're reviewing it here today. I apologize in advance. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 1.6 liter inline 4. Well, this was the basic engine. The GXE was actually a mid-trim level. If you moved up, you would get the 2 liter naturally aspirated SR20 engine, which in its normal configuration is fine, but people boost them, or overseas in Japan, there were cars that came with factory turbos on the SR20. It's a very stout, very powerful engine. So, although this isn't that engine, it is cool that this generation even came with it, so I just wanted to share. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. Now, you could find these in manual as well, but this is the automatic. It's a 4-speed, it does the job, and it's fine. Last but not least about the drivetrain, of course, the Sentra is front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Nissan Sentra from 1998? Well, it's incredibly basic. However, this is still of the era where these economy cars felt pretty light on their feet. Once you start to get into the early 2000s, you really start to feel, just in the way that they drive, how heavy economy cars were getting. This still feels rather athletic, even though it only has the smaller 1.6. I feel as though on a good twisty road, on a sunny afternoon, that this car would be decently fun. It doesn't sound bad with an exhaust leak. With that stuff out of the way, get your tetanus shots and let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. Off to the left is my speedometer, and off to the right is my fuel and coolant temperature. No tachometer found here in the Sentra. On the steering wheel, we do have cruise control off to the right, but that's it. And off to the left, we have a climate control vent, cruise control button, mirror adjustments, and gauge dimmer switch. Moving on to the door, we do have our latch to get in and out, as well as our window switches and locking switches, which are very nice. And I do like this very 90s fabric found on the door. Moving into the center, we do have 2 climate control vents, hazard switch, rear defrost, and our climate controls. Everything is very small, very dainty here in the Nissan Sentra, and cars used to be that way. We also do get a radio down below that, and some pull-out cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test. However, it fails because of course it does. Ashtray, cigarette lighter, and the shifter. Yeah, no good on this one, but it works. It operates. Jiminy crickets. Parking brake down below, and the seats. The seats are actually pretty comfortable. I do like the 90s aesthetic to them, the 90s feeling to them. They are very soft and plush, and I enjoy sitting in them, although I feel like I need to take a bath. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. We do have an ashtray back here. We don't get a center console, but the actual seating position is pretty decent. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. My head is not hitting the ceiling, although the headliner is sagging. For a basic economy car, this back seat actually works. I'm a 5'11", not small adult man, and I fit back here comfortably. I could ride back here to 7-Eleven to go get a Slurpee with my friends. And that, again, can't always be said about modern economy cars. This car was relatively spacious, and it accomplished its task it set out to do very, very well. So I am actually a really big fan of this rear seat space. Let's hop into the very back and see what's waiting for us in the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Sentra, we do have the standard key here. There we go. And the key is stuck. There we go. And there is the rear trunk space of the Nissan Sentra. Nothing really too crazy to note. However, I do want to say something about the body before we talk about the body. This is the four-door. So the Sentra was the four-door, but at the same time, they were also selling the Nissan 200SX that was the coupe version of this. Now, I've done a big friggin' bottle test of a 200SX, but I haven't driven one. Here we have a 1998 Nissan 200SX. The 200SX was a two-door Sentra based off the Nissan Lucino. It was only sold from 1995 to 1998 here in the United States, and it featured a 1.6-liter inline-4. You never see them anymore, but they also fail the big friggin' bottle test. So, very interesting to see that, but here is the trunk of the little Nissan Sentra from 1998. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like the look of this Sentra. I do think that it is really subtle, and it's not over-styled. It's a basic little car, and it looks that way. It doesn't have a big gaping mouth. It's not trying to yell at you or scream at you or cry for help through its eyes. No, it just looks like a little economy car from the 90s, and that's exactly what it is. There's no falsities here. There's no lies. And that's what I love to see. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the 1998 Nissan Sentra GXE? Well, I've actually really enjoyed my time driving the car. Although I don't feel sanitary in any way, the actual driving experience and the car itself, condition aside, is a good little car. The 1.6 liters were good engines. The automatic transmission, still here 26 years later, is shifting fine. This, to me, is when Nissan really knew how to do basic, simple transportation. Yes, they also had cars like the 240SX that were exciting, and the 350Z was a couple years away, but they had the Z32 at this time. I mean, that was a fantastic car. Nissan in the 90s was such a fantastic company, at least in the products that they were putting out. Now, Nissan of the 90s didn't actually really turn a profit. That didn't come until Goshan came in the 2000s and actually started making it a profitable company. However, in order to make it a profitable company, cuts had to be made. Lots and lots and lots of cuts. And so Nissan quality has fallen by the wayside in the last 2 decades. So while this car wasn't a moneymaker, this car barely kept the lights on at Nissan, it's because they put that money into the quality of the car. Yes, this car is disgusting, this particular example, but the build quality in here, even through all of this, there's no shakes, there's no rattles, there's no tinging or pinging. This car is solid, and even though it's been neglected by probably several owners over the last 2 to 3 decades, it's rolled with the punches, and it's still here today, of which I can't say that about today's modern Nissans. I don't think that they'll be here 25 years from now, and especially not operating as they did. So love it or hate it, this little petri dish on wheels is solid, and it works. And that's what I hope Nissan does in the future. I hope that they come back to this formula, because right now, it's just not cutting the mustard. But this cut the mustard with a spicy hot knife and just a touch of bacteria. So a lady in that Toyota Tacoma just pulled up to make sure that everything was okay. I never get asked when the cars are nice, but I guess that's a badge of honor for a clunker. When people ask if you're okay when you're just parked regularly. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Carl for letting me borrow his Sentra. Now, this is a car that Carl bought for $400 and is planning on either flipping or junking, or I don't even know what he might do with it. This is not a reflection of Carl as a person. This car is just a bad example he picked up a few nights ago. He said, I have a Sentra, asked me if I wanted to drive it. I updated my shot records and said, yes, please. Carl's wonderful. He also has a YouTube channel where he posts about his weird cars that he finds. so I'll link that in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.